A young woman accidentally gained the ability to see lines that reveal the number of partners a person has had. Hi, today we will look at the plot of the 2025 series S-Line. A girl named Hyeon lives in an apartment with windows covered in cardboard. Because she possesses an unusual ability, she sees red lines above people's heads that indicate how many partners they've had. Her power works not only during face-to-face interactions, but even through television. For instance, on one TV show, company employees insist that their relationships are purely professional, but the red lines reveal otherwise. This ability first appeared when she was a child, but only as she grew older did Hyeon begin to understand what it meant. One day her mother found her drawings and realized what those lines represented. That discovery led to her parents' breakup. When Hyeon realized that knowing the truth about red lines could even cost someone their life, she decided never to talk about her gift again. But this wasn't her only power. Hyeon is also immortal. So, since she has to live somehow, she sets a personal mission to uncover the origin of these red strings and find out whether she's really the only one who can see them. Her thoughts are interrupted by a new neighbor who moved in a few days ago and drops by with a gift. Not wanting to interact, Hyeon waits until the neighbor leaves before picking up the fruit left at her door. At the same time, a detective arrives at the local police station. Hyeon had seen him before. He once offered a ride to his niece. His name is Ji, and he's known for increasing people's red line count rather quickly. Once a co-worker even invited him to her wedding. Meanwhile, Ji's niece, Seion, is having a tough time at school. She's regularly bullied by a group of students. Not long after, Ji is assigned to a new case. At the scene, a messy apartment where everything looks suspiciously staged. A man in a motorcycle helmet was seen entering the building, but no solid leads exist. Da-hee, one of the officers, recalls that the deceased woman once had a boyfriend, but they broke up over a year ago. That evening, the news reports the incident, and Hyeon notices something peculiar. The man in the helmet only has one line above his head. That instantly stands out to her. Even more alarming is the way he tries to eavesdrop on the reporter at the scene. Things get even more serious when Hyeon sees the same motorcyclist stop in front of her building and enter the apartment of her neighbor, the one who had brought her fruit. Alarmed, Hyeon dials 911 and reports the danger, but soon she sees the couple laughing together, and oddly enough, their red lines begin increasing. The next morning, Seion asks her Uncle Ji for money. He suspects she's being bullied, but she shuts the door and avoids answering. Meanwhile, Dong-sik calls Ji and tells him someone had reported the helmeted man to 911, and the call came from the building right across the street, the very building where Ji lives. Ji decides to visit Hyeon and ask what she knows. She replies that she must have imagined it. That same night, another motorcyclist, also with only one red line, arrives and stares directly into her peephole. Dong-sik then finds out that the deceased man used to be a high school teacher. His name was Ahn Joo Young, and he even finds a photo of him. Ji recognizes him. It's the man he once saw in Hyeon's building. After work, Dong-sik decides to investigate further. He enters the suspect's apartment. The door isn't locked, but one of the rooms is incredibly strange. Before he can report anything to Ji, Ahn Joo Young suddenly attacks him. A few minutes later, the biker exits the house and enters the one next door. It turns out he also has a special ability, and his goal is to eliminate others like him in order to erase the red lines. But Hyeon disrupted his plan. Although he managed to injure her, just at that moment Ji arrived at her apartment. Looking through the window, he saw what was happening across the street. Without hesitation, he rushed over and fired a few precise shots. In his final moments, the man whispered, "The thread disappears." This made Hyeon realize that she's not the only one who can see the red lines. However, now that he's gone, there's no way to learn more from him. That same day, Hyeon began to rethink everything. What if these red threads could actually be used to help people, not hurt them? She takes off her glasses, and the sky above her glows red. At that moment, she receives a message. "We're the same. Come to Banju school." The next day, Seion sees Hyeon reading a valentine that San had secretly left for Ji-won. Overcome with emotion, San lashes out and attacks Hyeon. Their teacher, Miss Lee, hears the commotion and steps in to break up the fight. She scolds Seion, telling her this behavior is unacceptable. Just as she's leaving, Seion notices Hyeon's special glasses and takes them. Meanwhile, it turns out Dong-sik survived. Ahn Joo Young had only assaulted him. Even though the case was officially closed, Ji is still convinced they missed something critical. He returns to Ahn Joo Young's apartment and takes a closer look at the mysterious red room. The color isn't just for show, it's because of the red lines. There are so many of them that the whole room seems to glow crimson. At the same time, Seion is now wearing the glasses and sees a line above her own head. She tries to pull it off when Ji walks into the house. Terrified, San panics and runs away. Later, Hyun sees Seion gazing at the sky, talking to herself. Then she wanders the streets, staring at all the lines above people's heads. It doesn't take long for her to figure out what they mean, and she even smiles. Excited by her new discovery, Seion goes to school where she begins to see people differently. Some of them seem disgusting to her now. When she sees a line leading behind a wall, curiosity gets the better of her, but she might regret what she finds. That day, a new student arrives in their class. It's Hyun. Meanwhile, Ji is reviewing the case evidence and realizes the special glasses are missing. He heads to the school where Ahn Joo Young used to teach, wondering whether he ever wore glasses. But Ms. Lee tells him she never saw him wearing any. Elsewhere, the same group of bullies, led by Ho-yeon, gathers on the school rooftop to harass San. But this time, Hyun stands up for her, calmly explaining that it's better to walk away from them than to get involved. Ji also follows up at the bar where Oh Jung used to go. The bartender says he was a completely normal person at first, but then something changed. He started talking to himself, even though he was sober. He would constantly repeat numbers. 1, 2, 3. One time he even got into a fight with another customer. Apparently he was counting the red lines above people's heads. That's what set someone off and caused the altercation. The bartender adds that Oh Jung always wore glasses. As Ji is about to leave, a new opportunity arises. Another chance to track someone through their red lines. Meanwhile, Seion is walking down the street when she runs into Huyen, one of the girls who bullied her. San immediately decides to get back at her and sets up compromising evidence involving one of their teachers. But Huyen is completely unfazed. She believes no one will punish her. So Seion sets her sights on a new target, the teacher. She sends him the photo, and his reaction is immediate, complete shock, like his world is collapsing. Moments later, he receives a chilling message: prepare 20 million. San starts to enjoy her newfound power and begins gathering compromising material on other teachers as well. Hyun begins to sense that all these incidents aren't random. She notices the glasses Seion is wearing. When she asks her about the lines, Seion seems genuinely confused. Hyun needs answers. Where exactly did Seion find those glasses? Seion replies that someone must have slipped them into her locker. In any case, Hyun knows one thing for sure. Those glasses are too dangerous to remain in the wrong hands. She forcefully takes them back. Now, she's determined to use them to open everyone's eyes to the truth behind their hidden connections. Late at night, Hyun secretly follows Seion and steals the glasses again. As soon as she puts them on, she finally understands how they expose people's secrets. Seion soon realizes the glasses are missing. But before she can act, she receives a message from a teacher, asking her to keep things quiet and offering money. He tries to explain that he's going through serious financial difficulties, but before he can finish the conversation, his wife sends him the same photo. Convinced that Seion is behind it all, the teacher loses control and pushes her off a ledge. Luckily, Seion had already called Hyun earlier, so Hyun is able to find her and call an ambulance just in time. At the hospital, Hyun tells Ji that Seion didn't fall by accident. The next day, Teacher Kim finds the glasses on his desk. When he puts them on, he sees the red lines for the first time. Another teacher tells him that the students who bullied Seion have all mysteriously disappeared, except for one boy who spent time with her on her last day, Lee Ji. Lee Ji tells Ji that San asked to take a photo together. Right after they did, she suddenly stood up and ran off, saying she had lost something. Ji reviews the school footage and spots Hoyeon in the background. Meanwhile, Kim is planning to move to another country. But before that, he stays at his sister's place for a week. After dinner, he notices his brother-in-law acting strange, always glued to his phone. Then Kim sees a red line leading to another floor. Curious, he follows it, but the man stops him. Back at school, Kim notices something odd. Their star teacher, Lee, doesn't have any lines at all. That surprises him. But some of the other people's connections are just as unusual. Kim continues tracing the mysterious line, and it leads him to an apartment. There lives a woman his brother-in-law has clearly been involved with. By checking the mailbox, he learns her name, Kwak. Despite it being the anniversary of his and his sister's mother's passing, her husband is nowhere to be found. He tells his wife he's on a business trip, but Kim has serious doubts. He follows the man and confirms his suspicions. He gives him 1 day to come clean to his sister, or else, he says, he doesn't know what he might do. Later, Kim visits Kwok's social media and finds a recent post. She's had a child. Kim rushes to tell his sister everything, but to his shock, she already knows. And instead of thanking him, she blames him for ruining her life. When Kim sees his brother-in-law go to Kwok's home instead of being with his wife, he finally snaps and punches him. His sister begs him to stop and confesses the truth. The man is actually married to Kwok. She is the other woman. Kim, stunned, orders the man to leave Kwok and return to his legal wife. And surprisingly, he does. Later, Ji finds a journal Seion kept, and in it, he discovers a note about the glasses. He asks Seion what the glasses really reveal. She answers with just one word: lines. And with that, part 1 comes to an end. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this recap, give it a like, leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.